Hey, good morning everybody. I'm Josh. This is Track Daily. Today is an exciting day because it is the first track day for me of 2021. And it's a beautiful day, sunny. It's currently about 30 degrees, but it is going to warm up considerably throughout the day. Hopefully we're going to be in the mid to high 40s by the afternoon. So I'm really excited about today. I've got a kind of special surprise in store. So let's get to the track and talk about it. All right, we're out here at Atlanta Motorsports Park. It's getting warmer. It's my watch is saying it's 36 degrees. Feels warmer than that to me. I don't know. But the exciting thing today is I'm out here with my buddy Trent and his, what year's your car, Trent?
2000.
His 2000 fixed roof coupe.
So last time I was here, I mean, it wanted to oversteer like I've never felt before. So I'm really hoping that the weight transfer is slowed down. Yeah. So hopefully I can corner flatter, brake flatter, you know, dial in the brakes. Previously I was having huge problems locking up the rears, but I'm thinking that was all due to weight transfer. So I'm hoping to adjust some things here and there. I got my brake bias adjuster and see if we can get it going.
So we just did our first little session of the day. We did one out lap and then 4 hot laps. Trent, how did it go?
It was awesome. I mean, it was fun following your line. Back here at the practice day, I mean, it's got infinitely more grip. It feels like 2 to 3 orders of magnitude. I'm really excited for
that's cool because you spun it right when you were
I spun it at speed, like at 90.
And do you remember what your time was, like your best time when you were out here for that day?
138.2 I think it was on my Apex, and like I was following a friend in a ZL1 the time I spun, and he was at like a 136 and a half. When I had my C5 Z06, I did a 134.5 out here on a hot day. I suspect that even on a cold day like today, once it warms up a little bit more, this car can easily beat that. So we're not going to push or do anything crazy or take any big risks, but I would really love to see this car do better than a 134.5 today. How about you? What are you trying to make happen today? You know, I was thinking about that on the way over here, and it's like, this is just fun for me. I almost was like, should I even put a timer in the car? Because like, this is just a hobby. It's just for fun, and while I like improving on things and everything I do, so like that's the aspect of it. So yeah. It's hard to say. I mean, if I can just do a little better than I did last time, I'll be happy. It's
not so much a matter of pushing for faster times. It's about pushing to find your comfort zone in a place that you didn't have it before. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, you know, we're going to be able to put in, you know, lots and lots and lots of laps over the course of the day today. And as Trent gets more comfortable with the car, he's gonna find that, hey, like a 138 doesn't feel so fast anymore, and then hopefully a 136 doesn't feel so fast anymore, and so on. So we'll see what happens, but it's about doing it in kind of an organic, like no pressure kind of way. So far so good. We'll check everything over and then get back out there. Session number 2. I'm following Trent, and we're gonna see how he does. I'm just gonna kind of keep an eye on his line. All right, just did, I guess, session number 3, is that right? Session 3. And this time we did more like 10 laps. Trent, how did your laps go?
Very good. I started off strong after my my debrief video session with you. Got it down to 137 flat. So that's over a second better than I've done before. So
that's awesome.
Extremely happy.
All right, we got 30 more minutes before the track closes for lunch. Trent just generously offered to let me drive his Corvette on the track, so I am taking him up on that offer. Gonna head out and see how it goes.
Oh man. I wonder if my heart rate app on my phone will tell me what my pulse is right now. Far higher, let's put it that way, than it is driving the Miata. So yeah, I just got out of Trent's Corvette. So obviously, you know, Trent is roughly 2 feet taller than me. And so it's fortunate for me that I can fit and reach the controls and stuff. But the seat is a lot wider than I need. And so, you know, there's like, I'm sliding around and, you know, I kind of have to brace myself. So that was the first thing that I noticed. The next thing that I noticed was when you get out on the power, it's just like, it's raw. And it took me a while to get comfortable doing full throttle in third and fourth, you know, just because you're not sure if it's going to have the grip at the rear. But there's no traction control, no stability control, no ABS. Probably on my first or second lap, it was lap 1. I laid a streak of rubber 100 feet long going into turn 1, I assume from a rear wheel. So, which leads me to my chief complaint about the car is the brakes are phenomenal. Clearly there's too much rear bias. But are they boosted like they have the vacuum assist? It's too much. Like you just breathe on them and it's like even like driving through the parking lot, they're so touchy and grabby that there's no modulation that you can do. And so I tried to heel toe, you can't, because you push the brake like half an inch and you're getting like all the brakes. Like I can't emphasize enough how it would transform the car if you had better modulation over the brakes. Put it this way, that car will do like a 132 or a 129 or something like that if you could get to the point where you could really push it. I felt like I was barely tapping into it and I did a 136, and it was just a matter of like, okay, if I keep at this and keep like nibbling away at the edges of the performance, I'll get there. So question for you, how did it feel watching me lock it up down the front straight?
Well, you know, and you know, I wasn't concerned. It was a smoke show though, that's for sure. The corner worker was gone. I redid the whole brake system, so I don't know exactly what the problem is.
This car isn't about figuring out, you know, how to go the fastest around this track. It's about like barely getting it under control, you know. Yeah. I felt like there was so much I left on the table, like so much. So I'm excited about the prospects for it, for sure. Man, that was fun. Thank you for letting me do
Absolutely.
that. I appreciate it. We're halfway through the lunch hour, and Trent and I have been kind of noodling on my feedback about the car, which was primarily that the car is amazing in every way except for the brakes, which are horrifying. And so, you know, we talked about various things. He plumbed new brake lines himself, put in a proportioning valve which controls how much braking force goes front versus rear, and adjusted that a while back and stuff. So we went back and, you know, thought about a bunch of different stuff and you know, considered a lot of different things, but I'll let Trent tell it.
The conclusion that we have arrived at is that I had adjusted the proportioning valve the opposite of the way that I should have adjusted it.
Meaning that the brake bias was all the way to the rear, and we thought that it was almost all the way to the front.
There's actually a good reason for that though, because I did do the procedure, but previous when I had the stock suspension, there was so much weight transfer happening that it seemed to make it better. I mean, I wasn't at a track, so I was on public roads and I was in an area where it was safe to do it and everything, but it was just time consuming, and that's mind-blowing actually. It's crazy. So
even though obviously like turning the knob the wrong way, the knob doesn't say front rear, right? Like the knob's a little confusing, but we know now that all the way out counterclockwise is all the bias forward. So the exciting thing is, without making any mechanical changes, just turning a knob, we're going to be able to see if the car behaves better under braking. Are you excited?
Can't wait. I can't wait.
The track is hot again after lunch, and Trent is about to go try out his newly reproportioned brakes. Let's see how it goes. locked up?
The fronts.
The fronts?
It is a changed car.
Wow.
It has twice the pedal travel now.
Really?
I guess because it was so locked in the rear.
Yeah, it wasn't
so
using the whole
small.
system.
It was just, you know.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so I locked up the front, so it's clearly a little too front biased.
Okay.
Less pressure than I had used before, and it's still locked.
Okay.
So I pulled it out too, and then I went out, and I'm getting like every time I go around, I'm getting a lump, you know.
There could be a flat spot.
Clunk, something like that. But I'm pretty sure I locked up the front because I lost steering.
So big improvement.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like I remember it completely.
That's great.
In terms of like, it actually has pedal travel now.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited about that.
It actually like a lot of pedal travel.
But Trent's gonna go out and see if he can do some respectable lap times.
Let's do it.
I was braking before the start finish because I was going so fast. Like I think I felt like I was hitting 130, but I might not have been. But no, 124.6. 125.2. So my top speed picked up significantly because I was carrying more speed through 16 and through the carousel, and so that meant that I didn't feel comfortable trying to brake early. I was able to heel toe it now. I was able to drive it. I had a couple of times where I got fourth instead of second when I was going into one.
You really got to kind of pull it over.
Yeah, and it's just, that's, no big deal. Not the car's fault. That was my fault. But everything about it was so much better. Like the revised review of the car. So, I just went out for a second session. I think I did 6 laps or so, and I got down to a 134.3, which is 0.2 faster than I ever did in my Corvette, and that's driving this car for the second time basically. And the first time with the brakes dealt with, I think I'm at a stage with this car now where I would feel like, oh, it would take me a long time to get all the way down to its best lap time. So the car feels like good to go now. It feels really good.
How different it is now.
What are your thoughts at the moment on it?
Going from one extreme to the other was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Locking them up and kind of going on an off-track excursion. But 4 clicks, I think, much better. But you said you locked up the fronts, right?
Yeah.
Maybe try 5.
Yeah.
See if it balances it a little bit more.
Right.
I mean, I'm extremely happy with just the result of today.
Yeah.
Nothing broke. You know, suspension did everything we wanted it to do, which is a huge time and money investment. And then solving the brakes is just a bonus.
Right.
Not even having to do anything, like you said.
Right.
No
Yeah,
work,
it turned out it was a dial.
no money, nothing. So I absolutely love that.
Oh man, super fun. So there's an hour left. I think you need to get back out there.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
What do you think?
It was crazy.
All right, you gonna take it out?
Yeah.
All right, just got back from driving Trent around. We did a 134.8 with a passenger in the car. I felt pretty good about that. He's gonna go out for the last session of the day.
That was awesome. That was awesome. That was a sick run. I mean, and it was a second lap. 36.7, the second lap.
Nice. Yeah.
I had one out lap.
Right on.
And then my next lap was it.
Very cool.
Obviously, riding with you helped a ton. Where it helped the most was the carousel, the first carousel, the turn out into the second, the bigger carousel. I went out further and just let it go.
Yeah.
And then I had more confidence in going. I was flooring it in fourth. 115. That's probably. I don't think I was in the teens yet today.
Okay. I would say successful day.
That was
from my point of view.
Awesome.
Super
day.
fun. Super
Awesome
fun.
Day. Couldn't ask for better, honestly.
Ah, we'll have to do it
Had
again.
the track to ourselves.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
All right, heading back from the track. Today was such a great day. You know, you never know when you go out there kind of how things are going to go and, you know, what's going to emerge in terms of interesting stuff. And it turns out we had this, you know, whole thing with Trent's brakes, and we got it fully sorted. So that was really cool. I also really enjoyed driving the Miata out there. And, you know, a takeaway that I had is that I used to think that when it came to, you know, driving cars on the track, that there was a progression, like a hierarchy just in terms of lap times. And so if a car was capable of a faster lap time, it was just inherently better than another car. And so I felt like by selling the Corvette and getting this Miata that I was sort of stepping down, you know, for the sake of learning to be a better driver and kind of like
getting in on the ground floor with a momentum car. But driving Trent's Corvette today, you know, it made me realize, because I think I drove it confidently. I felt like good about the way I drove it. I know that the car is capable of going faster, but I drove that Corvette faster than I've driven anything other than the Radical SR1 at Atlanta Motorsports Park. And I really enjoyed it. And I think what I realized is, you know, to some people, yeah, the Corvette is a superior car because it's, you know, several seconds quicker a lap than this Miata. But the Corvette is enjoyable to drive on the track in kind of a completely different way than the Miata is. They're just two different experiences, and I really loved driving the Miata out there today, and I really loved driving the Corvette out there today. So it was just super fun. It was, you know, comparing and contrasting those experiences. The Corvette has this surplus of power in most situations, and a lot of the skill of driving that car is, you know, figuring out like how much of the power you can afford to use without, you know, kind of losing traction. Whereas with the Miata, it's always at a power deficit. So the Miata is more about like chucking it into corners as fast as you possibly can and not making any mistakes that would cost you time. So, you know, like two totally different approaches to the same problem of going fast on the track. And I like both approaches. Right now for me, the Miata feels like a kind of safer and more familiar and less risky approach, but I felt my confidence growing in the Corvette. So really, if I could have a Corvette and a Miata, I think I would have both. That's what it boils down to. Not in a position right now for that to be the case, but maybe someday. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you very much for coming along for the ride. Thanks again to my friend Trent for letting me drive his Corvette. It was super cool of him, very generous of him to let me drive the car. I did flat spot one of his tires, so I'm going to replace that because ultimately that is on me, and I want him to be willing to offer to let me drive it again in the future. So yeah, thanks Trent. Thanks everybody out there. See you next time.